can we talk about your relationship?
Sure.
Are you cool with that? So, Graham, I don't know if you know this, but he's in a open relationship, right, with your wife. So you guys are able to see other people. How did you come to that conclusion?
Okay. My last relationship, I cheated.
You cheated?
I think, yeah. Not really that surprising. I'm sorry.
Why?
Because I'm horny and fucking dumb and it's whatever. What I realized after that relationship was like, I am just never going to date again because I'm too Coomer brained and I can't, the idea of like being with one person for the rest of my, I just can't. I can't ever do it. It's never going to work. It's never going to happen. And rather than subject somebody else to the horrors of dating me and being cheated on me, I'm just going to do my own thing on my own. Fuck it. So for a while I did that, and eventually Melina, my wife, she reached out to me via Instagram and we kind of started flirting a little bit, and I was going through some weird stuff in California, and then I had like a job opportunity pop up with like a sponsor camera system, and I was like, oh, she's in New Zealand. I've got a few friends in New Zealand. I'm going to go to New Zealand, hang out with her for a bit, talk to other people. And when I went down to New Zealand, she has a lifestyle where she's like polyamorous. And then she describes this to me, and I never even considered it before. And I'm like, okay, this sounds kind of cool. And then eventually we start talking more, we start dating. And from the outset, basically, we've had that style of relationship because I guess she was involved in it before. And then once I found out about it, this is like a dream for me, because ideally it means that I can like work on my stuff, do my shit. And my partner doesn't see me as like their sole source of like entertainment or whatever they need, because they have the opportunity to go do other things. And then if I want to, I can go do other things. It should be okay.
But why get married? You're married to her?
Yeah.
Why get married in that sort of situation?
Because she's Swedish. So
Taxes?
no, well, because I want to live with her.
Right.
Yeah. Because without getting married, she can only see me like 3 months out of the year. So
Got it. Okay. How does it? I don't get how it works. I don't get how
fundamental do you want the conversation to be?
How does it? Could you explain that? No, I don't get how either side could not get jealous, possessive, wanting that person all to themselves. It seems so foreign to me that she could be off doing something and I'm here. My mind could just not process it, as would like, I can't do anything, you know?
Sure.
To me, I couldn't.
I think there's some like natural level of jealousy that exists for literally every single type of interaction. Like even in monogamous relationships, somebody might get jealous if their significant other is like has a close friend of the opposite sex, or like is saying good things about somebody else like that you view yourself as like competition to. That if they do things with friends that you wanted to be included in. Like there's a lot of like places in life where jealousy and stuff can pop up. Obviously your partner getting railed is probably one of the more prone to jealous environments where that can happen. I guess the way that I view it is there are certain things in life that I really want to be able to do, and being able to like hook up with other people and is like really fun for me. But I also feel like very secure in who I am and what I offer and what I can offer to other people. And I don't think that my partner hooking up with another person is going to make them not like me, because I'm an awesome person. So if they want to go and explore stuff like that, as long as I have the opportunity to as well, and like we know we both love each other, for me it's just not that big of a deal.
Does it ever concern you that you could potentially not be that way for the rest of your life, and you've set this as the foundation of your relationship with her?
This is going to sound very brutal, but it's going to be the most Chicago School of Economics answer I ever give. If at any point in time I'm not like a good enough partner for my person, the last thing I would want is some monogamous bound, like keeping them like locked to me. Like that's how I view it basically. So if my partner ends up running into somebody and they treat her better, they make her happier, she has more fun with them and all that, and she's like, listen, like I think I'm going to leave you with this person. I mean, fuck, you probably should.
You would be very matter of fact about it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I mean, like, at that point, core principles, at that point, I would have to evaluate, like, okay, here's my wife. I love her a lot. She's met another person who provides all these things that I don't provide. So then at that point, I have to make a decision. Do I want to change myself enough to provide those things? Or do I like what I provide and what I can get? And then I go find somebody that's more, like, synergistic with that, basically.
Let me ask you this. Would you prefer if she be monogamous? Like, all things considered. Just the situation's exactly the same. You could still do whatever you want, but she's monogamous. Would you prefer that?
No.
Why?
So, okay, I'm breaking with a lot of norms here. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Ever since I was in high school, I have a very aggressive personality. I really like strong characters. I really like strong character in women. Like my first wife, like was very much like we would argue and fight all the time for fun, but like we'd very much like, I need people to like call me out on my bullshit. It's like be like stern and everything. If I have like a partnership with another person, like a wife or girlfriend or whatever, like in my eyes, it has to be somewhat equal. Like if I was out sleeping with people and my wife for whatever reason didn't want to or never did, or she was monogamous, like I would view that as her not having any self-respect, because I'm basically getting a really big ask from her for like some sexual loyalty, and then she's letting me go out and do whatever I want. And at that, I'm like, why would you ever agree to that unless I've got like so much leverage over you, or you're like so much beneath me that I have the ability to do that? Like, that's how I view it. I understand everybody view it, but that's how I view it.
What if it wasn't sexual loyalty, but it was more so she just didn't have any desire for anyone other than you?
Oh, I mean, if she didn't want to, then I wouldn't care. But it doesn't make a difference one way or another to me. But if she didn't want to, I'd probably be okay with it. The only thing that logistically that probably wouldn't work out, though, because if I'm out like hooking up with other people and seeing other people, and she's just like at home, it's like, what the fuck is happening? Like, my husband should be hanging out with me, and he's like out, hanging out with random chicks. Like, fuck me,
So how do you draw those boundaries? Do you just say, hey, we have open discourse over who you're with, who I'm with, and of course we have this time that we reserve for each other?
It's very difficult, and we're still kind of working that out for a variety of reasons. But the idealized form of our relationship is usually we both have other people that we like to see, and if we're traveling,
consistent people.
Ideally, not always, but ideally sometimes. But basically, if somebody's going to go hook up with somebody or travel to see somebody, then the other person is doing it at the same time. That's like the ideal, so that everybody kind of has something to do at the same time, and nobody's.
So you're like,
around.
hey, honey, I'll be back in a few hours. You're going there.
I'll be back in 20 minutes.
Well, I think we usually, the goal would be to like plan things out like in advance, kind of. So like if she's going to travel to like New York to go do a photo shoot, and she's got like a friend up there, whatever, then I know that like a month in advance, maybe I'll plan to like hook up with somebody in Miami while I'm there, something like that, right?
I can't wrap my brain.
Okay, so as a person who has only been monogamous and who plans to only be monogamous for the rest of my life, just based off of who I know I am, when I look at a relationship like this, I cannot help but feel, and I'm not being judgmental towards you in any capacity.
Okay, all the best comments start off with that. Go ahead.
That there,
no disrespect.
That there seems to be less love in a relationship that is like that. Can you dismantle that argument with facts and logic?
Not at all. There's a lot of these things are very emotionally driven. I understand the argument that like if we're in love with each other, you should only have eyes for me. And we only, make love with each other because that's a special thing in a relationship. I understand that argument. If I were to try to attack that as brutally as I could on the other end, and if I were to come at it from like, I'm poly and I don't understand monogamous people, what I would probably say is that like, for me, if my wife and I lost our genitalia, we would still have the exact same amount of love for each other. I don't define the love that I have for people, or especially my wife, by the fact that we have sex, or some sexual exclusivity has no bearing whatsoever on my feeling for her. Like, there are reasons why I love her. There are reasons why I like to spend time with her and do things with her and travel with her and all these things. And these things exist wholly independently from the sexual component.
But sex is important in love.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I know
it's not like, it's not, here's the thing. Right now, I can fuck any person that I can fuck, but the special moments that I share with like friends or my wife are moments I could only share with her. I have a lot of sex with a lot of people, but I can't have the same type of time that I spend with my wife with any other person. That's just not possible. So like, that's the thing for me that defines the relationship. There's a lot of people that I've had sexual experiences with. There's not a lot of people that I've had like really loving, vulnerable, caring, kind, nurturing moments with. Yeah.
How do you feel like your relationship affects your son seeing this?
Man, I don't know. That kid's gonna be.
Same things for him,
he's gonna be all sorts of fucked up when he gets old enough. The policy that I have with my kid is a policy that I've always had for myself. I am very, very, very open and very honest about basically everything. Like even when he's 6, if he asks me a question for like, how does a car work? Like I'll try to describe everything I can. I never want to say like, oh, like you'll know when you're older. Oh, I just want to blah, blah, blah. I try to keep things age appropriate, but like, because I've been like so open for so long, I think that generally like, because me and his mom are split, he's got his household with his mom and he's got his whole family, his mom's side, his grandma, grandpa and everything over there. And then he's got me and then hopefully like my wife. So like when I fly into town or when he comes to Miami, he visits me and then he knows that like, he knows we're married, he knows my girlfriend, and that we hang out. But because we've been split the entire time, I don't think he had to undergo that schism of like, why aren't mom and dad together anymore? And I don't understand why there's all these other people and blah, blah, blah. That's just kind of like what he's always known as the norm. And for all the faults that me and Rachel, his mom, had in our relationship, she does an amazing job being a mom and working with me in terms of like working with my son. Like we don't have like a formal custody agreement. We have a lot of conversations about like if he's having certain problems that are related to like boy things, like she'll talk to me and she'll be like, hey, can you have this conversation with him about like viewing this on the computer, talking to people this way, or blah, blah, blah. So she does a really good job at like keeping me in the loop, and then I do a good job at communicating with her about that. So yeah.
Does she disagree with your choices now in terms of having an open marriage? Like worrying about like, hey, I don't believe in this for my son.
No, but we've never had that conversation. I imagine he'll just choose. I don't think that we'll try to force I guess I've never had that conversation with her before. I don't think she cares. She thinks I'm a little crazy. I think she's a little crazy. But like we live our lifestyles. But like I don't know if I would never like impart on my son like, hey, listen, you want to grow up and be a high value man and juggle 5 women. But like I'm not gonna say anything like that. Like I figure he'll discover and explore that on his own. But he's also like 12. Yeah. So
I feel like that's about the age, right?
Well, you decide if you're polyamorous.
I don't know, when you're figuring yourself out and
Listen, if you're a 12-year-old guy and you can manage multiple relationships in what is that, fucking 6th, 7th grade, go for it, okay? But no, I imagine there's like other stuff he's got going on developmentally that he's probably not fixated on, joining the Mormon church and being polygamous or something yet. So
sure.
But yeah, I mean, I imagine when the conversations come up in the future, we'll just talk about it.
And what about when you meet somebody else? Are you just upfront and say, hey, I have an open marriage? Or if they reach out to you, they already know the situation?
I try at this stage of my life I try to be as upfront with everybody as possible. Because when you start like lying about certain things or obfuscating things or masking things, then shit can get very, very, very complicated very quickly. So yeah, like Melina's on like my Instagram. We like talk publicly about each other. There's not like there's no secret there that we're married or anything. So I try to be like pretty open about all of that.